We will first do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Great. Rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen, and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Cologne-Hayes. Here. Councilor Condon. Here. Councilor Crowe. Here. Councilor Linehan. Here. Councilor McDonald. Here. Councilor O'Malley. Here. Councilor Sika. Here. Councilor Simonelli. Here. Councilor Spatafora. Here. Councilor Taylor. Here. Council President Winslow.
Here. All right. Under the provisions of the open meeting law, for those of you in attendance, please be informed that the Urban Media Arts UMA will be recording this evening's meeting. And just be aware there will be an audio and video recordings of this meeting. And is there anybody else doing a audio video recording? All right, so that's all, and we will do that. So first order of business, clerk.
Representatives from Malden Reads will appear before the council to present their One City, One Book reading selection for 2024, Being Human, an unrepentant memoir of a disability rights activist by Judith Heumann.
All right, then please step forward and make your presentation. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi. Please, just your name and address and. I'm sorry.
Do I need to give my address too?
Okay.
Or no?
Yep, good.
Okay. My name is Andersa Rose, 90 Bowers Ave, Malden, and I am the Associate Director at Urban Media Arts and a co-facilitator for the Malden Reads program. On behalf of Malden Reads, I want to thank this council for the opportunity to give this presentation, as we have every year since the first Malden Reads program began in 2011. As a reminder for most of you, the Malden Reads program is carried out by a dynamic group of community volunteers in collaboration with the Malden Public Library and UMA, Urban Media Arts. In addition, we are supported by local foundations, residents, businesses, and organizations, either through funding, non-monetary donations, volunteerism, or partnering on projects and events. This is the 14th year of our One City, One Book program, and we couldn't be more pleased to see that the program continues to evolve each year and impact this community in so many ways. People are excited to read the book each year and talk about it. We network the community together through events and activities that engage with the themes of that year's book choice. We help create lasting memories, connections, and friendships throughout the community. This year, we had almost 20 people on our book selection committee who culled through a list of over 40 titles suggested by the community. In the end, we unanimously selected the 2024 book, Being Human, an unapologetic memoir of a disability rights activist by Judith Heumann with Kristen Joyner. So I'm curious how many of you on the council knew who Judith Heumann was prior to our book announcement, just by a show of hands. Okay, and I don't say that to any of you to call you out, because most of us on the committee did not know who Judith Heumann was, and that was really the thing that struck us when we read the book, is we all looked at each other and said, why don't most people in this country know who this woman is? Judith Heumann passed away last March, and even then, there was not widespread coverage of her life and contribution to the disability rights movement. All of us know the American with Disabilities Act. Judith Heumann was a leading figure, both as a citizen and as a government employee, in paving the way to enact that piece of legislation, which is the defining act of Congress so far in our history to support people with disabilities. She was known as the mother of the disability rights movement and helped to stage sit-ins and protests as a citizen that led to earlier pieces of legislation, later working in the Clinton and Obama administrations to progress disability rights nationally and internationally. This book is a memoir. Judith tells her own personal story and shares what it's like to navigate a world that is not built for her existence. In the process, she offers an overview of the birth of the U.S. disability rights movement. Judy Heumann, as she was known, was born in Brooklyn in 1947 to German Jewish immigrants who fled the Holocaust. She contracted polio when she was 2 years old and needed to use a wheelchair for the rest of her life. That's her with her mother in the right. She was not allowed to enroll in school when she reached kindergarten age because she was considered a fire hazard. It wasn't until 4th grade that she was able to attend an inferior school far from her home. Against the odds, she graduated high school and attended college at Long Island University, depending on those around her to lift her up and down stairs and raised door entrances. She received her teaching degree, but was barred from teaching in the New York public schools, again, because she was considered a fire hazard. She fought back and sued the city of New York, won the lawsuit, and went on to further activism in the 1970s. Banding together with disabled friends she met at summer camp, she co-founded a group called Disabled in Action, which among many acts of protest, shut down rush hour traffic on Madison Avenue outside President Nixon's re-election campaign headquarters to call attention to Nixon's veto of the Rehabilitation Act of 1972, which expanded programs to help people with disabilities. Heumann moved to Berkeley, California, the center of a small but growing disability civil rights movement, and became the founder of the Center for Independent Living, articulating and fighting for the need for people with disabilities to live their lives with dignity and access to the resources to help them thrive as fully participating citizens. In 1973, Nixon did sign the Rehabilitation Act, but neither his nor the Ford administration wrote the rules required to make the anti-discrimination language operative. When the Carter administration took over and seemed unsure whether to act on it, people with disabilities took over a federal building. Oh no. Sorry. I lost a thing. Sorry. I'm gonna. Okay. Coming here. Okay. Yes, they took over a federal building in San Francisco and were joined by protesters in other cities occupying federal buildings. Judy Heumann was at the center of the San Francisco sit-in, which lasted for 26 days, the longest of its kind ever. The protest was instrumental in raising awareness and leading to the implementation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, an act which eventually paved the way for the far more robust American with Disabilities Act. In 1993, President Bill Clinton named Heumann, the woman who had once been declared a fire hazard, too dangerous to be a student or a teacher, as Assistant Secretary of Education, in charge of all the nation's federal education programs for students with disabilities. Later in the Obama administration, she worked as Special Assistant to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, in charge of spreading ideas about disability rights across the world. That's all I will tell you about what's detailed in the book. I hope you will take the time to read it. For me, this book did what all good books do. It allowed me to put myself into someone else's shoes, or body, as it were. It made me feel what it's like to navigate the world with a significant disability. I felt changed by the book. When I walk into a restaurant or an event, or really any place now, I look around and think what it might be like to be there in a wheelchair. Even if a place might meet ADA standards, many events or locations are not truly set up to welcome and accommodate people with disabilities. It set me thinking, how can we create a more inclusive environment in our workplaces, events, and gatherings? We hope, this year's Malden Reads program will spark that kind of thinking and conversation. Let's read together, have these conversations, learn and take this journey together as a community. And now I'll let my co-facilitator Jody Zoff talk about our kickoff.
Awesome. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, council members. On behalf of Malden Reads and my co-facilitator and our volunteers and UMA and the library, we are so thrilled with this year's book. As Ann said, Judy Heumann was such a firebrand, and she really instilled in us what it means for community to come together and work together within our democracy. And I know, as being part of the city council and active members within the city and city leaders, that you also will support that. Our kickoff this year, we are so excited to have a kickoff in person again, our first since the pandemic. And we'll be at the library on January 25th from 6 to 8. We'll have a program in the Macario room with a number of different folks giving a little taste of what's to come with the year's program. So we'll have some local activists as well as a local author, and I don't want to tell too much. We're still slowly rolling out our news with details to come, but we do hope you'll join us and come to see the info tables there as well. We've recently had a conversation with the Disability Commission, and we're so proud to have connected with them within Malden, as well as the Malden CPAC, as well as many other organizations within the community. So we are beginning, as Ann said, different conversations related to the book. We always say, as one of our members said, you don't know what you don't know, so we're engaging in these conversations together. We'll have book discussions. We're planning a film screening of Crip Camp, which is the camp that Judy Heumann mentions, or she's focused in the Netflix film, and we'll show that at the library, and then we'll have a number of other community events as well. And we hope that you will be actively involved in our program. One program in which I think might spark an interest is the continuation of our Citizen Lyceum, where we have someone from a civic education program coming to talk with us about how the ADA was made, how laws are made, and the connections with the activists and the disability community, and how laws are made. So more to come. All events will be on our website. And at this point, we are hopeful that we might be able to present you with this year's copies of the book. We have a number of our volunteers with us. If we could present them to them.
Right, yeah, if you want to come up, and then I thought we might take a brief recess so then we can gather and take a photo with Malden Reads, with the books, so yeah.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I will say one thing
Okay.
while we pass out the books, how we think history is so long ago and how recent these issues are. In '72, my brother was the first one to integrate his classroom and be allowed, a disabled person be allowed in an actual regular classroom. So it's been very, very recent in our history, so I think we just have to keep that in mind.
So let's get the photo, and then I'll have counselors comment or ask questions after that. Let's get our photo. Yeah, that's great.
I have one, thank you. I can't wait to read it. Yes, I think he's holding his.
Yeah, we'll take that just in case. She wants to take one on her shoes, but we're gonna take a picture on her phone. You're gonna do it sideways? Oh, we gotta get them in. Oh, be careful. Oh. I feel like it's like the Grinch one. Oh, okay. Now he's gotta go back up again. Get him in.
If everybody can take 1/2 step to the center, it would be great. Okay, there we go. Lisa, are you getting everybody
Yeah,
in?
ready?
I think I am too.
I think so too. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Take a few.
Trying to get it without the podium.
I know. I didn't. This was council.
I know, right? I couldn't remember it right up. There you go. Hopefully those look, I think they do.
Make sure you all have a book before me. Does anybody else not have a book, raise your hand.
All right. Did everybody get a book? All right. Okay. And then, Councilor O'Malley had a question, and if anybody, other councilors are interested in saying or questioning comes to it, let's see. So go ahead, Councilor O'Malley. You on? Let's see, try again. See, am I doing it? Let's see.
Try clicking that to show off the podium.
Okay, there we go.
Brings him back up
Oh,
automatically.
okay, all right. Oh, sorry, go there.
There he is.
Oh, there you go.
Hello. Thank
go,
you.
okay.
So it's actually not exactly a question, but for those in the public who enjoy listening to audiobooks, I checked the Libby app, which you can connect to your library card. It is available. I just checked out one of the copies. There are a couple more, so if you can get on there quickly, you might be able to get the audiobook. I'm really excited to read this book, and thank you for kind of bringing it to our attention. To what our library director had said, these things are not too long ago, and I just want to give an anecdotal story to that. My great auntie Lily also contracted polio when she was a child, and I remember in my lifetime seeing her try to navigate the world with leg braces. And so I'm looking forward to reading this in her memory and in her honor. So thank you so much for bringing this to my. Thank you.
I will add that I also listened to the book on the Libby app, which it was a great audio version of the book, great narrator. We also learned from the Disability Commission that the book is available in Bookshare, so that's something that's available for people who have other disabilities who need a screen reader or some other kind of format. So it's available in many different formats, which is awesome.
Thank you, great.
Yeah.
Other counselors, or I was going to say a little thing. So first of all, I wanted to thank Malden Reads. This is a very exciting and interesting thing, especially in terms of the public work we do. I wanted to point out we have Maria Louise here, who's our disabilities coordinator and works with our Disabilities Commission, and it's good to hear you're already in touch there. Fantastic. And just one of my stories is being a public servant. I had an opportunity over the course of the years to work with disabilities commissions. And I remember working with a resident, and he lived on one side of a busy street, and down the other, maybe 3/4 of a mile, his sister was at the other end, and he had to go down that street in a wheelchair until that street got rebuilt with ADA ramps, and it transformed his life. And the ADA has been a transformative thing for this community and so many people. I think of our own advocates like Ed Lowney and Frank Sinna, rest their souls, who worked on this for many years, and the advocates we have now. So this is a very important thing as we do as a community to make ourselves accessible. So it's very exciting to hear, to be able to read this. So thank you so much to Malden Reads. It's a very, very great thing to be hearing about, so great. Thanks. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? Okay, no public comment. All right, so now we have the consent agenda. So this evening's consent agenda consists of 2 petitions being referred to license and 1 paper referred to ordinance. Does any counselor have a desire to remove any of these items from the consent agenda for discussion? So not hearing any requests for discussion, I will consider a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Counselor Sika, second by Counselor Condon. All those in favor? Aye. All right, so that consent agenda is passed, all right? So now we go into motions and resolutions. So, City Clerk, can you read the net motion?
Paper
before us?
24-24, order that the Malden City Council form a new Community Engagement and Inclusion Committee. The committee shall seek to broaden community input in key decisions referred by the City Council through forums, surveys, and other actions, review language access and DEI initiatives by the city, and encourage youth to be engaged in civic life. Sponsored by Councilor Cologne Hayes.
So, Counselor Hayes for the paper, please. Let's see, let me get you there. All right. You good?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, let's see. All right, let's see, I got to turn off the podium, I think. There we go. There you go.
Okay, hello. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
So thank you again. I know that our council president had brought this up our last meeting, and thank you for listening to me when I called and wanted to bring back something that was from Debbie DeMaria had originally had this, but this seems like more of after we talked and spoke of a committee that will be getting, the word out and community engagement about things that our council is doing. So I think that's new and needed, and there's lots of public meetings. So I just want to appreciate on that and hope that you all support having this committee be formed. Thank you.
All right, so we have, let's see, Counselor McDonald. Let's see. You're up, Counselor McDonald.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Councilor Cologne Hayes, for spearheading the return of this committee. I want to give it my full-throated support for this committee. I think it's a great opportunity to pull together a lot of threads and help people engage with the city. And even just thinking about the common read that we were just talking about, and how can we make our process at the City Council more accessible in lots of different ways. So I'm just really grateful this is happening. The only comment I just wanted to add to this is, I think it's great to have a specific committee that is focused on keeping track of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And I just want to clarify, and with my colleagues, I don't think that relieves any other committee of its responsibility to care about and follow up on equity and inclusion. Just that this committee has it in its particular charge, but I do think it's all of our committee's responsibility to pay attention to equity issues and take them seriously in our process.
Oh, sorry, Counselor Linehan. Let's see. Doubled. Let me get you again. All right, there. There you go. You're ready.
Thank you. I just also want to reiterate my support for this. I think having served on it when it did exist, I thought it brought a lot of value. I also understood the reasons why we wanted to streamline committees and, explore not having it for a little while. But I think one of the things that I realized reflecting on the time we haven't had it versus when we did is that it was a great committee to sort of workshop things like our approach to translating documents or things that maybe are going to live somewhere else permanently, but which we want to really kind of get that community input on. And also just, big issues that maybe exceed our capacity to hear from the community in one meeting here before the council, or maybe if we want to do additional community engagement. I think, I'm thinking about the meeting we had at the Salemwood when we needed to kind of keep talking about the different Roosevelt proposals, and it was the end of our session, and we needed to have something else where the community could come out and be heard. And I see this as a place where we could do that. I don't know what those big issues are going to be, but I think this is kind of a logical place for that. I know we hear a lot from the community, if I can't come out on Tuesday nights, how do I express my opinion, and this is maybe a place where we could do that and think creatively about how we can, do engagement in a lot of different ways. So thank you for bringing it forward. I'm happy to support.
Great. Others? Okay. All right, I am also in favor of this. I definitely like the comment about workshopping, because I know sometimes we put together a draft ordinance or something, it becomes a little bit more complicated as we take it to rules and ordinance, and sometimes that it is good to, we might realize we need to have a little bit broader perspective. So I definitely think that's a great thing for the committee, and also that the aspect of working with youth. I know Councilor Colon-Hayes has had the youth council on our tabled on our agenda, and hopefully this is another way to move that forward. So looking forward to supporting this. Thank you. Any other comments of anybody? All right. So I will ask on Councilor Colon-Hayes' motion to adopt the order, seconded by Councilor McDonald. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Order passes unanimously. So the committee is now formed, and I just, pursuant to our rules, I just make the appointment of Councilor Colon-Hayes as the chair, Councilor Taylor as the vice chair, and Councilor Seminelli as a representative. That was announced as a proposed last week, so I'm just making that official now that we've formed the committee. And then I will, if Councilor Colon-Hayes has another action, if you want to go ahead. Great. The tabling, yes. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
do that at the end of the agenda?
we'll just do it right now, yes, so if you want to.
So we're skipping ahead to...
So we're skipping ahead to table papers, so yeah. Oh, let's see, so let me, let me get the, okay.
No, I think
She's
I'm on now.
Okay, great.
Getting the
Okay.
hand of it too, sorry.
All right, good.
So thank you. It looks like we're going to take this a little out of order, so I wanted to take off, let's see, table paper 138-22, the resolve of forming the Malden Youth Council, off the table. Thank you.
All right, so we will now vote on the motion to take this off the table. Clerk, can you take the roll? Roll.
On Councilor Colon-Hayes' motion to remove paper 138, seconded by Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Colon-Hayes?
Yes.
Councilor Condon? Yes. Councilor Crowe?
Yes.
Councilor Linehan?
Yes.
Councilor McDonald?
Yes.
Councilor O'Malley?
Yes.
Councilor Seega? Councilor Simonelli? Councilor Spatafora? Councilor Taylor? Council President Winslow?
Yes, so the paper is taken off the table. Councilor Colon-Hayes for the paper.
I would now like to refer this paper to the newly formed Committee of Community Engagement.
So,
Thank you.
So a motion to refer this paper to the Committee on Community Engagement and Inclusion Committee, seconded by Councilor O'Malley. Any discussion? Voice, okay, any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor?
I do
Councilor.
actually just have a question. So
Okay.
if this paper is another paper coming out that kind of puts together exactly what the youth council is? Because one of the things that I think about, actually, I've been thinking about this a lot, is and I know that some of is to get them involved in civic engagement, and we know we have a civics group at Malden High School, and we had talked about that it's not really as inclusive as we would like it to be across the city, but we do have a lot of civic sort of groups in Malden with teens. The YWCA, we've passed ordinances. The YMCA has their, the civics lead, and they do a ton of work, a lot. I know our group is working with A Voice from the ACDC on a couple of things. I know MC has a civics group. I know Malden, Mystic Valley Charter School. Honestly, instead of making a whole other group of whatever 3 to 10, 3 to 20 people on it, I honestly think that we should have representatives from all of the different groups, from the civic organizations that have youth groups from the high schools that have civic groups or groups that are working on some of these things, and really create a space at the teen center that they meet once a month, even if it's with the mayor, we figure out, or counselors or whatever. And then I think, because I think one of the things that could happen is when, like, A Voice came to the YWCA, and they're going to be working on a survey and asked some of our teen leaders to help. And again, I know the YMCA does a lot of work around civic engagement with youth. So I just think that instead of having a sort of another group that's a youth council, finding a way that they could start working with each other across the city, across issues, across lots of things, and really have their voices heard.
Okay, can I respond? Thank you.
Councilor Colon-Hayes.
Sure, thank you. So the reason why we want this in a committee is so we could flush things out like you're talking about, so it needs to go in there. It's, I did send out an email to all of you saying that, heads up, this is not gonna look almost nothing like we've originally brought it forward, which is why it needs to go into the committee. What I sent out was also a link, I'm hoping that Lisa did send it out and you got that, because there was a link to it to the Wakefield Youth Council. We are meeting with them tomorrow, so I would have said this up front, but like I said, I did send that information out to you all. We're meeting with the, Catherine, I believe her name is, from the Wakefield Youth Council. She's been doing this for about 10 years now in Wakefield, but she also started and ran the Boston Youth Council under Patrick, Governor Deval Patrick, and she also then took that particular way she runs hers and has done it in different cities. So we have a model that has worked for many years now, and it's something totally different that we do not have here in Malden. And it's, we could flesh that out again, like I said, in the committee, that's what it's there for, but it's nothing like you've seen, it's nothing like any group here is also doing. And if you want to check them out, they are on Wakefield, they have a Facebook page, they're extremely active, and the youth basically, they want to learn civics, right? They want to do something that's totally different than it's being done in all the, other venues that you had mentioned. And in my opinion, there's enough youth to go around in the city. There should always be another thing for our youth to get involved in, and this is to basically learn civics. So briefly, the Wakefield sets it up where they have this committee, and each youth that is on that committee is assigned to one of the boards and commissions, and they go to those boards and commissions and bring back the information to, it would maybe be the committee that we just set up, let's say. And it's really for them to be active and engaged in civic, how government works. Thank you, that's what government works, not anything else that's done in the city. And we're also meeting with Malden Catholic and the Mystic Valley Charter School, and they're all gonna be involved in this anyway. So the more things that our youth can be involved in civic engagement and government, the better. So I would not count this out and vote down another opportunity for our youth. Thank you.
Councilor O'Malley.
I probably would just second both of the feelings that Councilor Crowe and Councilor Colon-Hayes mentioned. I think fleshing out the details in committee rather than on the floor here, I think is probably the way to get the best product. So thank you.
And Councilor Simonelli, are you, Chris, are you still interested in speaking, or are you? Okay, let's make it. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Sorry I missed last week. I'm still on the mend from the wing here, so I didn't really get a chance to see what committees that I was on. So I just got the list here now, and I'm on the committee with you. So to Councilor Hayes, I don't have any problem with sitting down on this committee and working on a program for kids with civic stuff. I mean,
It's not a program.
Huh?
Sorry, it's not a program, it's a council.
Oh, all right. Oh, it's a council. It's a council? Is there any gnomes in that council? Listen, all right, so I'm saying to you that, my background is in after-school programs anyway. put that 21st century grant that Malden got for $10 million when I was on the council before. You remember that, Councilor Condon? So I've been working on after-school programs since I've got into public office, and I'm all for it. But I think that we have to sit down and what Councilor Crowe just said. I mean, we don't want to be having like piecemeal all over the city, right? So we have these already organizations that, come with insurance. It comes with all the YW, the YM. So, I mean, maybe, and you're a city councilor, you're busy too, and I commend you for actually sticking with this paper and, wanting to work with the youth of Malden. I got no problem with that. But I think that, we have to sit down in this committee and see like what kind of civic things, that you want to have them do. Because for example, I mean, I'm extremely busy between my neighborhood and the job over in Everett. And so, I mean, I don't know if I can have anybody shadow me, so I can't commit to that. And I don't know if that's what you're looking for. All right. So again, all right, fair enough. So yeah, I just want to let you know, Councilor, that I'm in favor and I support your paper. And I'm looking forward to working with this. That's all. Thank you, Council President.
No further comments. So on Councilor Colon-Hayes' motion to refer this to the Community Engagement and Inclusion Committee, seconded by Councilor Simonelli. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is referred to committee. So we'll look forward to the report back and the work. For any councilor wants to chime in on that. It seems like there's a lot of good work that this can help bring together. All right, so going back to the order of business, we're back to paper 2524. So, clerk, can you read that as a resolve, please? Thank you.
Resolved that it is the sense of the Malden City Council that the following is a role summary for its members. Duty. The Malden City Council's functions, duties, and responsibilities are defined in the city charter, city ordinance, and state law. The council's authority includes the need to regularly vote on the annual budget, appropriation order, and any expenditures of the general fund which are proposed by the mayor, changes to city ordinances and zoning, appointments to city offices, boards, and commissions, and certain licenses and permits. The council has 11 members with 3 councilors at large and 8 ward councilors, 1 from each ward. Ward councilors focus on the area that is their ward, and councilors at large focus on the city as a whole. The city council president presides over meetings and agendas, appoints council roles, and becomes acting mayor if the mayor is unable to fulfill their duties. The council's operations are supported by the clerk of committees. The council works closely with the city clerk, who acts as the parliamentarian, and the staff of the clerk's office to manage the legislative process. The council receives legal review from the city solicitor and the law department. Individual councilors use their own judgment to determine the best way to implement their roles. Their responsibilities include legislation. Attend and participate in council meetings, typically every Tuesday night from September through June. Vote on issues before the council, including orders, ordinances, zoning changes, financial papers, appointments, licenses, resolves, and other matters. Participate in city council committees, including chairing committees when appointed, and act as designated council member of certain boards and commissions when appointed, and research and propose policies and papers for the council to consider. Constituent affairs and community engagement includes respond to and advocate for constituent concerns, working with city staff to address them. Councilors at large collaborate with ward councilors about issues related to their wards. Act as a community liaison to build public awareness of city programs and services, and attend, support, and plan various community events. City leadership includes participate in city projects, planning efforts and task forces when applicable, participate in defined review processes and community meetings for certain permits and approvals, such as site plan reviews, community preservation projects, and licensing, and oversee accounts assigned to them for neighborhood improvements, celebrations, and development mitigation expenses. Councilors may perform other roles, functions, and duties which are in their judgment to be in the overall interest of the city of Malden. Councilors must comply with all related laws, ethics, and requirements for the role. Qualifications. Councilors are elected by the process outlined in the city charter. They must be a registered voter in Malden, in their ward if a ward councilor, in order to be certified to appear on the ballot. The city council president is elected by the council from among their members for a term of 1 year. Compensation. Counselor's compensation is defined in MCC 2.20.020. As of 2024, they receive a stipend of $25,000 per year. The council president receives an additional stipend of $3,000 per year, sponsored by Counselor McDonald.
All right, Counselor McDonald for the paper.
Thank you, Council President. Well, it's not poetry, but I will say I really enjoyed hearing all of that spelled out. I'm only a second-term city councilor, and I don't have the experience that many of my colleagues do, but I think there is just great value in having some general agreement. This is a resolve, it's not an order, has no force of effect, about what we understand our role to be. So this particular paper, as I think folks know, but I'll just reiterate for folks watching, came from a paper that I had proposed when we voted on increases to our stipends last fall. My original paper had asked that our HR department maintain something like a job description. We pointed out that's not really in their jurisdiction. We wanted to see what that would look like. So I proposed a draft in committee for folks to look at. This draft is basically trying to incorporate all the feedback that I heard in that committee, making sure that we're clear, nothing preempts state law or the city charter or our ordinances, making clear that really the function of our roles is in our own discretion. That's what we were elected for. Nothing can preempt that either. But to spell out so that the public can understand just kind of the scope of all of the work that we do, because I don't think that that's as apparent as it should be. And it's important and helpful for our constituents to know the leadership that they're investing in. So I agreed to put that forward as a resolve for your consideration. Again, while it may not be perfect, I think it's a pretty good summation of where we're at, and welcome further conversation about it, and hope you'll support it. Thank you.
We have Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Councilor McDonald. Fully in support of this. I think that the result that we came after working on it in committee is a great summation of what we do here. The only question I had, and it was probably an amendment, a friendly amendment if possible. Under qualifications, the last sentence says the council president is elected by the council among their members for a term of 1 year. I believe that the council, because it's a singular, would be its. So it would be the council president is elected by the council among its members for a term of 1 year. That would be my only amendment, and otherwise it's spot on. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Colin Hayes.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for putting in all that work. I know we spoke about it, and I thought it was a great idea. Being a new city councilor, this would have been super helpful. Even though we do generally all know what we need to do, it's really nice sometimes to just have it out there, and it's definitely nice for something for the public to see. So the fact that they can kind of look in and see either this is great that my council is doing this, or hey, maybe I could do this. It looks great, and run for office. So thank you so much.
Any other counselor? All right. So, no, I'm just going to speak on behalf of the paper. So I am supportive. Thank you, Councilor McDonald, for advancing this. I think it is very helpful. I mean, I would even encourage, if we can, to hand this out when we people pick up papers to run for city councilor. It might be a good thing that it is often a question of people who, what am I getting into? So I think this is a good synopsis of that. I did have my own sort of a little bit of wordsmithing under constituent affairs and community engagement. My suggestion is to, the first bullet point says respond to and advocate for constituents. My comment would be to actually strike advocate for and just put the word raise constituent concerns. Some of this is a little bit of my role as an attorney. You take your oath of, the professional responsibility of an attorney is to be a zealous advocate for your clients. And I think the term advocate can be confused under ethics law of being a proponent for a particular constituent, which is I think under ethics law, there's a little bit of question whether we can be that, that specific. So I think raising the concerns of constituents is a role. I think there is this question of when we cross the line into you actually we can't be a paid advocate. I looked at the ethics law, it actually says we cannot be an unpaid advocate either, unless we disclose the relationship. So I think it's best to say we're raising concerns of constituents. It's a little bit, ultimately we take an oath of office to faithfully execute the law. So that's our ultimate responsibility. So that's just my suggestion. I would make that motion as well. So. Yes, so great.
If you want to put,
Okay,
so
so.
I'm
yeah,
wondering
you're
if
on.
it's easier for me to make the motion for you
Okay,
as
so
part
sure,
of my
yeah, so
motion.
that's true, yes, so yeah.
And so I would move to amend the resolution under qualifications by striking there in the last sentence and replacing it with its, and striking the word advocate under constituent affairs and community engagement, and advocate.
Advocate for.
Advocate, and say raise,
Strike advocate for and replace it with raise.
and strike, okay, so strike advocate for and replace it with raise. Thank you.
All right, is there a second for that? Second. All right, any discussion of the motion then? All right, any further discussion on the amendment? We can, why don't we take do we need to do, we'll just a voice vote on that. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the amendment, the resolution is amended. Any further discussion of the resolution is amended? Good. All right, all those in favor of the resolution say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, the resolution passes. All right, great. Okay. All right, so next order of business is committee reports.
Paper 26-24, Committee Report, the Standing Committee on License, to whom was referred papers 478 through 486, series of 2023, and papers 4 through 9, series of 2024, having considered the same, make the following report.
Okay. all
Motion
right.
to receive the committee report?
All right, a second of that? Second. All those in favor of receiving the committee report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, committee report is received. Councilor Sika.
City Clerk, would you like to read the petitions before I speak?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so,
Petition 478-23, Amusement Machines, Flaming Grill and Buffet, 52 Broadway, Malden, 3 machines. 479-23, Petition Class 2, AGM Auto Sales, 160 Eastern Ave, Malden, 24 cars renewal. Paper 480-23, Class 2, Malden Middlesex Motorcycle Sales, Inc., 129 Charles Street, Malden, 3 cars. Paper 481-23, Class 3, Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, Inc., 129 Charles Street, renewal. Paper 482-23, Petition Extended Hours, Dinty Chris Corp., DBA Duncan, 980 Eastern Avenue, Malden, 7 days a week, 4 a.m. to 12 a.m. 483, Petition Livery Company, AB Limo Services Incorporated, 51 Claremont Street, 1 vehicle renewal. Paper 484-23, Petition Livery Driver, Adriham Borchuk, 51 Claremont Street, renewal. Paper 485-23, Petition Livery Company, Ruby Lynn Transportation LLC, 259 Mountain Avenue, 1 vehicle renewal. Paper 486-23, Livery Driver, Linda Delicano, 259 Mountain Avenue, renewal. Paper 4-24, Amusement Machines, Town Line 10-Pin Corp., 665 Broadway, 25 machines, renewal. Paper 5-24, Extended Hours, Honeydew Donuts, 691 Eastern Avenue, hours 7 days a week, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. renewal. Paper 6-24, Livery Company, Ideal Park Limousine Services Incorporated, 61 High Rock Road, 1 vehicle renewal. Paper 7-24, Livery Driver, Stephen Asongwed, 61 High Rock Road, renewal. Paper 8-24, Livery Company, On Point Transportation, 210 Lebanon Street, 1 vehicle renewal. Paper 9-24, Livery Driver, Martin Berry, 210 Lebanon Street, Apartment B, renewal.
so now Councilor Seeker for the committee.
I just realized 2 of these addresses. But anyway, okay. I have a crazy question. So if we voted on these in committee, favorably, I have to, okay. So I'll deal with it later. That's my address. I don't know how I missed that in committee.
Which is that?
Does anybody know off the top of their head the ordinance for how many livery vehicles you can have in one location?
I don't know.
Just because the committee recommended it out of favor, doesn't mean the council needs to vote.
Could we table those two if from voting on them tonight?
You haven't given your committee report yet, so you can give your committee report and then open it up for discussion. And I do believe somebody can make a motion to table those two petitions.
Just those two that,
Or you could refer them back to committee,
Oh, yep.
whatever you prefer.
okay, so I would like to do that for those two papers. I would like to refer those two papers back to committee if possible. I don't know how I totally missed that address.
So which papers? Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, perfect. I've never done that before, so I apologize, everybody. It just, I don't know how I missed that, but, okay. So the License Committee met this evening, and these are all renewal applications, and there were no issues according to the compliance guys, and we made a motion to vote all these petitions out favorably. But I'm just realizing,
Well, there's two that
no?
weren't.
Two of them, yeah, you didn't read those ones yet. Oh, you did?
I read everything, and now you need to report on what the committee said. So
Okay.
480 and 4.
I apologize. I thought we were taking them up separately. I
We
didn't,
haven't voted on anything yet. We're
Okay.
still waiting for your committee report.
that's fine. Okay. So my committee report. So all of these were voted out favorably except for paper 48023 and 48123. Those were voted to be denied. That business has been sold, so it will need to be a new license, not a renewal license for the new owner of the location, if they choose to have one at that location. So what do I do next? We're gonna vote
So I guess it sounds like we're gonna divide it up three ways.
3 ways. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to deny papers 480 and 481.
Okay, second by Counselor Condon.
Okay. All those in favor?
All those in favor of denying those petitions, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, those petitions are denied, and then why don't we,
Okay, then I'm gonna ask that we table papers 48323 and 48423. Or refer back to committee. Excuse me,
Okay.
thank you. I would like to refer 483 and 484 back to committee.
all right, Counselors, on Counselor Stika's motions to table paper 4323 and refer back to committee 483 and 40. Counselor Simonelli seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So those papers are referred back to committee. So on the remaining papers?
The remaining papers, I would like to make a motion that we grant the petitions, please.
All right, and seconded by Counselor Colin Hayes. So on the motion to accept, to grant the petitions for the remaining papers by Counselor Sika, seconded by Counselor Colin Hayes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That paper passes. Thank you. Those great petitions are
Perfect.
granted, all right?
Thank you.
Great. Next order of business, we've handled table papers. The docket is clear, the clerk declares. So is there anyone who'd like to have personal privilege tonight? So anybody who's going to be quick to the, all right.
Gotcha.
We have Counselor Simonelli up first. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that I think you did a great job here tonight. I know it wasn't your first night, but it was first for me. So I think you did a great job. Thank you.
All right. Others? Anybody else? All right. Great. I just actually had one quick thing. So, all right. Oh, Counselor McDonald. All right. So, all right. Counselor McDonald, then I actually had my own. So, okay. So, Counselor McDonald. Okay, great.
Thank you, Council President.
All right, thanks.
I just wanted to say thank you to the organizers of the MLK celebration yesterday. It was epic and really very meaningful. And so I know Councilor Colin Hayes was one of those folks, so thank you very much for the folks who showed up for that. I saw many of my colleagues there. I also just wanted to state, for those who are excited about Martin Luther King's legacy of combating racism and promoting justice, Malden's own Racial Equity Commission is having its first town hall meeting on February 7th, 6 to 8 p.m. There is an online option to attend. The city's just been bumping it out on Facebook, so please show up for that. And I did want to let folks know also that, we're going to be starting our Finance Committee meetings in earnest here. We got a lot of different pieces coming up. Next week, we're going to be doing our CPC projects. I'm going to try to offer a webinar, like a Zoom format, so folks can watch that committee hearing if you would like to do that. But we're going to be starting with regular meetings, going through some of the finance departments and pieces. I've been going back and forth with city staff about that, as well as starting to talk about some capital planning and financing issues with our public holdings committee and with the full council. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun start to the year. Thank you.
Okay, good to hear. And actually, Councilor McDonald covered what I was going to say in terms of the great MLK events we had. We also had one. Professor Jamie Wilson presented at the Malden Library, which was very informative, and I do appreciate the Emmanuel Baptist Church and the organizers for having a great event yesterday, well attended. So, Councilor O'Malley, were you about to press the button? Okay.
Yeah, possible.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor O'Malley.
So I also just wanted to thank the Healy administration for coming to Malden today. And she announced a great initiative that's going to increase pre-K access in gateway communities. I think this is a great step that, is hopefully leading us to reimagining how we fund public education and education in Massachusetts. So I just appreciate that. And if there's no other lights, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
And seconded by Councilor Spatafora. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.